48 hours, the countdown has begun. And that old ass jet you got, they gave it to you free. That's a 1978. Be safe on that, Drizzy. Be safe on that plane. That old God is great. Hey, no, this shit is really funny because I'm gonna tell y'all, it's like battling against nerds. It's like sitting in a class and you watching all the nerds put together their best science project to present to the class. Man, y'all can have that shit. I ain't with that shit. Your nose fake, your stomach fake. You don't write raps. Your biggest homies in foreclosure. Come on, man. Go buy all that's living with each other a big mansion and put the BBL Drizzy logo on the gates. Man, man, come on, man.
Rick Ross and Drake's relationship has been a subject of public interest for years, marked by both camaraderie and conflict. In interviews, Rick Ross has occasionally opened up about the tension between him and Drake, suggesting that their fallout was due to a mix of business differences, competition, and personal misunderstandings. Ross has hinted that while there were issues, he often felt Drake didn't fully grasp the complexities of the hip-hop business and the nature of rivalries that come with it.
Park that old ass plane. It's a 1978. The cargo jet people gave it to him free for promo. And I ain't hating, but be safe, man. If something was to happen to you and I couldn't tell you this, be safe. And anybody getting on it, be safe, man. Wear your seat belts and make sure the oxygen things in there, because that shit was just for luggage. It wasn't for human beings. So what, this is a perfect opportunity for y'all to see the type of white boy he is. Soon as that pressure on white boy, he gonna go post stunner in that $20 jogging suit. No, the man needs some paper. And make him say, I got your back. He don't want to say that to that mark. He ain't got that mark back. That mark ain't fed him none.
Drake and Rick Ross were once seen as one of hip-hop's most formidable duos, collaborating on multiple hits and publicly praising each other. Their chemistry in songs like Aston Martin Music and Stay Skemmin' was a testament to their strong bond.
Pretty much saying that he's an old, bitter op. Now, how did this beef even start? To the homie Chad, make sure to watch till the end. Now, this all dates back to when Meek and Drake were beefing. Meek Mill was signed to Maybach Music, which caused some tension between Ross and Drake. Now, it obviously wasn't too serious considering they had a couple songs between then and now. Fast forward a little bit, Drake invited one of Rick Ross's baby mama to a concert in Miami, and this is where things started to get a little weird. Fast forward to 2023, Ross unfollowed Drake.
The duo frequently appeared together in interviews and music videos, with Ross often referring to Drake as his little brother, and Drake expressing admiration for Ross's business acumen and artistry.
With Drake and Rick Ross beefing, and more than likely than not, they'll never do a song together again, I want to talk about my favorite collab between them, and that's Aston Martin Music. This is one of those songs you put on late night while driving, and you're just coasting, seeing the city lights, and you're just enjoying the ambient view. Everything about this song is perfect. The lyrics are good, the chorus by Chrisette Michele is great, Drake sings as well and has his own post-chorus. And for some reason, the Aston Martin Music on Apple Music doesn't have the third verse that is Drake's. But regardless, this is a song if you like both of these artists.
However, as both artists' careers continued to ascend, cracks began to form, leading to a more complicated relationship marked by occasional tension.
Me and Drizzy, our relationship most definitely is real close, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like you and Drake got an album together.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how much music we got, because it's so easy working with the homie. It's not a lot, I'm gonna be honest. We in the 2 percentile when it come to writers and creators. It's called a 2 percentile. The 2 percentile, yeah, just listen.
The exact reasons behind Drake and Rick Ross's fallout are multifaceted. Industry insiders speculate that their beef stemmed from multiple sources, including competition over shared business interests, disputes about music rights, and underlying tension about each other's perceived dominance in the rap game.
Walk out of the room.
Yeah, somebody walk out the room.
But the 2 percentile is when you walk into the room, you hear something, a beat or a production that you actually love. It can actually create it, think of it, create it, write it, and execute it right then.
Throughout his career, Drake has faced criticism and disses from various artists, including Kendrick Lamar, Pusha T, and Meek Mill. The reasons vary, from accusations of ghostwriting to criticisms of his authenticity and style. Some observers argue that Drake's commercial success and his appeal across multiple genres have made him an easy target for other rappers who view him as a threat or believe he represents the popification of hip-hop. Rick Ross's involvement in these disputes, either directly or indirectly, added another layer to Drake's complex relationship with the rap community.
What is it about Drake that everyone hates? You, Weeknd, Pluto, Metro, Ross.
They say rich baby daddy. It's like Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucien and Universal. My daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSP. Drake has a rich baby daddy. You take Drake and Lucien out, that just alters everything because that's such a control thing they had, the algorithm, the way that they work together to fix the numbers and all that.
During the height of Kendrick Lamar's public diss towards Drake, particularly after Lamar's verse on Control, Rick Ross reportedly advised Drake to stay quiet. Ross, known for his strategic thinking, allegedly warned Drake that engaging in a public feud with Kendrick could backfire, both musically and publicly.
Drake, Rick Ross said don't say nothing. He said shut up. Do not respond. This is an alert heard around the world. And Drake, Rick was taking shots at you too. He said, we know you haven't heard it yet because you're on that cargo plane. That tour's still going on, right? He said, if you haven't listened to it, bruh, the Teddy Pendergrass in the beginning will shut you down. That's real blackness. Don't do it. Now this right here got me. I make music that electrifies them. You make music that pacifies them. I could double down on that line, but I'ma spare you this time. Ooh! Oh my God, it's so bad. Drake, I'm sorry, don't respond. You ain't got nothing to give. There is nothing you can do to save you. Oh my God. We all know what euphoria means. The title alone. Put your ass to sleep. Now, like Kendrick said, he's got kids to raise, but you wouldn't know nothing about that, so I'm about to be out.
Ross, who has dealt with his own share of beef, seemingly believed that silence and focusing on one's own craft was the best response. This advice highlighted Ross's experience in navigating hip-hop rivalries, contrasting with Drake's more reactive approach to conflicts.
This is exactly why everybody keeps saying that Drake won. Because look at what Ross is saying right now. Keeps calling him BBL Drizzy, Cupcake Drizzy, Nose Job Poppy, White Boy. Like, we get it, the BBL Drizzy thing was funny. Because it does kind of look like bro got a nose job. And he's infamously known for getting liposuction. So I see where the BBL Drizzy thing comes from. But come on, bro. Ross, these are JV jokes, bro. These are middle school jokes. Y'all are just proving that bro won. And I heard Rick Ross's response. I didn't really like it. I would have admitted if it was fire, if it was tough. But that joint was weak. And Drake is claiming that his diss is just warning shots. So I don't know. If I was those 20 dudes, I'd probably just take the L. Also, this white man in this photo has been catching strays over this yearbook pic for like the last 15 years. I really need someone to get on here and identify this man because it is just hilarious. But y'all let me know what you think. Do you think Drake won this round? And do you think any of those guys could come out with anything to beat him? Comment your thoughts.
Rick Ross has occasionally been accused of trying to expose Drake in subtle ways, whether through cryptic lyrics, social media posts, or comments in interviews. Some critics argue that Ross's actions were driven by a desire to assert his superiority and remind the rap world of his influence.
The past 24 hours, this man Rick Ross has been absolutely obsessed with Drake. Right, just in case you guys haven't seen it, last night Rick Ross has posted Drake on his Instagram story 32 times, and he keeps talking about Drake, trying to expose Drake. This man is trying to absolutely launch an attack on Drake's reputation and career. Ross tried exposing Drake for not being rich and saying that his Air Drake plane is actually a 1978 cargo jet, and Drake is trying to make it seem like it's a private luxurious plane when it's just a 1978 old piece of garbage. And it didn't stop there, because Rick Ross kept clowning Drake for being richer than him. As you can see right here, he just posted on his story. He says, "Where's your yacht? Hashtag BBL Drizzy." And if you guys don't know what BBL Drizzy means, basically Rick Ross accused Drake for getting a BBL on his nose and having surgery on his abs. And then Rick Ross started this entire topic of his house is bigger than Drake's and he's richer than Drake. As you can see right here, he's been posting just a bunch of house battles and house comparisons between his and Drake's to show that he has a bigger house and he's richer. Probably the most petty thing he did was he actually started to build more real estate on his property for $37 million to flex on Drake and say that Drake can't do what he's doing by building all these mansions and property, and Drake's just a little boy compared to him. After all the bullying Rick Ross did to Drake, Drake finally responded by saying, "Rick, you sandwiched in cause that vacant land not yours. This shit the Miami starter pack. You living in a content creator crib." And then Drake also responded to Rick Ross in the DMs by making fun of his house and saying that his house was a timeshare and it was a crappy deal. And then he said, "Look how I gotta talk to this turkey. You should have just asked for another feature." At this point, it doesn't even seem like Rick Ross and Drake really have beef. It seems like they're both in on this joke and trying to entertain fans, because Rick Ross mentioning Drake 32 times on his Instagram story, it doesn't even seem real. How can a grown man do this?
Instances where Ross appeared to downplay Drake's achievements or subtly critique his style were seen by fans and critics alike as moves to undermine Drake's standing in the industry.
Rick Ross just responded to Drake with his own diss track in like 2 hours. Now, I gotta commend him for dropping a diss track in like 2 hours notice, but I'm sorry, Rick Ross, you can't be in this beef, bro. You can't, bro. You can't talk shit about Drake. I'm sorry. Like, you can't talk shit about someone who literally gave you all your biggest hits. Ross has only had 3 songs that was placed in the top 10 on Billboard, and his highest peaking song is number 3, and guess who's on it? Drake. Let's look at his other records that are top 10. I'm on 110 and Money in the Grave. You can't be talking shit about the man who's basically making you poppin' in the modern era. Rick Ross dissed, he really just kept making fun of Drake of being a white boy. He even said that Drake got a nose job, which I don't know if that's really true. And he said the only reason why he unfollows Drake was because Drake sent a cease and desist letter to French Montana. I'm pretty sure it's because Drake didn't want French Montana to release a song with him on it. French Montana was like, "Nah, I'm gonna release it," but that's why Drake had to send a cease and desist. Rick Ross also says that Birdman and Weezy made Drake's career, that Drake owes them his life, which I guess is true. Young Money did help Drake and start his career, but at the same time, Drake's giving you all of your hits, so you owe Drake your life. I think Rick Ross just needs to stay out of this, especially when you're 50 years old.
Despite their shared history, Ross has not shied away from dissing Drake on occasion. Whether through veiled lyrical jabs or pointed remarks, Ross has often emphasized his belief that his own artistry and business savvy surpass those of Drake.
Can somebody explain to me why Rick Ross and Drake are beefing? Rick Ross unfollowed Drake after being featured on Future and Metro Boomin's album We Don't Trust You that had a ton of disses aimed directly at Drake. And in typical petty Drake fashion, he invited Rick Ross's ex, Christina Mackey, to sit VIP at his recent show with Lil Wayne, and then posted this to Instagram with lyrics to Lil Wayne's song Go DJ, with the first words being "your girl present" and the music blasting. But I don't get what they could be beefing about. I get Drake and Future beefing. Drake dissed Future on More M's and he dissed him on What Would Pluto Do. I get Drake and Metro Boomin beefing. Metro was tweeting shots at Drake saying that Heroes and Villains is better than Her Loss and Drake deserved to win. It was just politics. Drake and Kendrick's beef makes perfect sense. They've been going back and forth for years now. Drake was dissing him on First Person Shooter with J. Cole. Kendrick is responding. I can't keep up with Drake and The Weeknd. Sometimes they're best friends, sometimes they hate each other. But if The Weeknd's on this album, it's probably because he now hates Drake. I don't know if Travis Scott has beef with Drake. I don't know why Travis Scott would have beef with Drake, but Travis Scott's boys with Metro Boomin, he's boys with Kanye, who has beef with Drake, so I can see a world where they have an issue with each other and Travis Scott picks a side. Nav unfollowed Drake too, but Nav is super close with Metro Boomin and Nav is signed to The Weeknd's label. I haven't seen any internet detectives find Drake dissing Rick Ross in a past song. I haven't seen anyone find Rick Ross dissing Drake in a past song. Rick Ross didn't even diss Drake on his verse on Everyday Hustle. Something is up. Something has to have happened. Drake must have done something, because there's no way everybody turned on Drake just because he said he's better than Kendrick and him and Future hooked up with the same girl one time.
These disses are usually subtle, often wrapped in complex wordplay and allusions that leave listeners debating their true meaning.
60 seconds, Drake and Rick Ross beef timeline. Let's get into it. It started with Rick Ross unfollowing Drake on Instagram. We had no idea then, but now on his new song, which I'll explain later, it's because he sent a cease and desist letter to French Montana. So Drake's like, let me do what I do best. Fly out women to see me perform in concert. And he did that to Rick Ross's ex right here. Then Rick Ross maybe dissed Drake on this song. I'll play the verse for you. Then this track by Drake leaked a 1v20 against everyone who had beef with him, including Rick Ross. He said this specifically about Rick Ross. I'll play it right now.
Can't believe he jumping in, this nigga turning 50. Every song that made it on the chart, he got some drizzy. Worry about whatever going on with you.
Then right after, Rick Ross dropped this diss track, basically saying that Drake's a white boy who stole Wayne's flow and he has a nose job. And then Drake and his mommy talked about it. Oh, and one last thing I almost forgot.
You would never guess who wrote this.
Critics have had varied reactions to the Rick Ross and Drake beef. Some view it as another instance of rap's inevitable clash of egos, while others see it as a deeper commentary on the tensions that arise when two powerful figures find themselves competing for similar accolades and market space.
Rick Ross just dropped his Drake diss track. Officially, it's called Champagne Moments. It's only a minute long. He recorded it in the studio today. He posted this story of him laughing on Instagram like an hour ago, then tweeted, "It's the first quarter, this gonna be a good game, grab a seat." In this diss track, he talks about all these things. He's richer than Drake, Drake got a nose job, and Drake sent a cease and desist to French Montana. He also references, obviously, one of their biggest hits ever, Stay Schemin', and then says Drake has schemed the whole time. I want you guys to listen to it, genuinely let me know what you think. The reason, by the way, that Rick Ross is kind of upset with Drake, I don't know. He kind of just took Future and Metro's side. From all that I know, obviously there must be something deeper to it because Drake has given Rick Ross some of the biggest hits of his career. But Drake had a line about Rick Ross and his affiliation with Diddy, and Drake's leaked this track, but he took it out in the official version that we heard on DJ Academics' story. Go to Twitter or Academics' stream if you guys want to see this. And please let me know if you guys think it's fire or garbage. Who's in the lead right now? This is Hip Hop War. I'm happy to bring it to you. I'm gonna bring you guys the best updates as soon as I find them out.
Rick Ross has made several tracks that seem to underline his belief in his own superiority over Drake, often emphasizing his street credibility, business acumen, and resilience. These songs are seen by some as thinly veiled dices, designed to assert Ross's position as a heavyweight in the rap game.
So black people are in an abusive relationship with Tyler Perry. And the reason why I say that is this man can literally release the same movie over and over again for the next 10 years, and y'all would still hate watching it. Now, this is not me personally critiquing Tyler Perry as a person. This is me coming for the type of art that he makes. And I'm honestly trying to figure out how this man managed to stay out of director jail. It's actually quite impressive. I just think that Tyler Perry has a particular demographic, and it seems like it's the older generation. Like, he could make the same movie based off a ain't shit black man who's bald, who does crack, who works at Walmart. If folks would be on Twitter talking about how they hated it, but they watched it in full, I think people should really stop hate watching content, because in that time that you're critiquing and watching that, could be out here watching a project by Issa Rae or Nia DaCosta, A.V. Rockwell, all three very talented black female directors. None of that same recognition, none of that same opportunity. I just feel like the bar for black cinema should be up here, especially at a time where we're seeing people like Core Jefferson get some critical acclaim.
In a digital age where social media actions are scrutinized closely, Rick Ross's decision to unfollow Drake on Instagram was viewed as a public confirmation of their strained relationship.
Okay, wait, there's one more unfollow. I missed it. Rick Ross unfollowed Drake. So his baby mama, Miss Hibachi Grill Dance, has said that Rick Ross don't really fuck with Drake, so maybe she wasn't lying. I mean, billionaires beefing isn't nothing new. It's just happening in rap now. Or close to billionaires beefing. I don't know what's going on. I mean, they're all working on Khaled's album. I think Khaled's going to drop in a few months. So, I mean, they don't have to be on this, with rap. And you can not like somebody and still make a record. You don't even have to be in the same room with somebody to make a record. But the Rick Ross, Drake, Khaled bond was pretty strong. They made a lot of songs together. There's only so many clubs in Miami, so they're going to see each other. The group chat on Drink Champs is going crazy right now. Noriega doesn't know what to do. All Drake got right now is Ghostwriters and J. Cole.
Following their falling out, fans and critics began comparing Rick Ross and Drake's success, measuring their respective achievements in terms of music sales, business ventures, and overall wealth.
When I say people take the internet too serious, this right here is what I mean. Because now you're comparing Rick Ross' house to Drake's house. Let me tell you something from a regular ass person. They're both big as hell. Like what am I trying to, what are we comparing? They both look like private schools.
Like, the only difference is Rick Ross has a big ass outdoor pool, but what's the comparison? Like, what are we looking at? Like, look at this. This is where the superheroes meet up at. Like, and Drake house look like, this would look like Batman's house. Alfred is somewhere in there, and all them little secret compartments is in this house. Like, we need to stay in our regular people lane, because we can't even compare to this, because it's just, which one do you like most? Which one do you like better than the other? That's all this is, because, come on, man.
In an ironic twist, Rick Ross's private jet crash landing incident became a moment of public amusement, especially as Ross had previously made comments mocking Drake's use of a luxury jet. Social media was quick to draw comparisons, with many suggesting that Ross's own misfortune was a karmic twist, given his earlier jabs at Drake.
Rick Ross almost lost his life and people are blaming Drake's OVO goons, bro. I swear social media is just the funniest thing in the world. As you can see, Rick Ross's plane had to do an emergency crash landing. It's not really said what happened, but there was a malfunction and the plane had to crash. Luckily, Rick Ross is alive, but people are now saying them OVO goons move quick. Because the same day the crash happened, he was clowning Drake about his plane again. Now you got folks saying the light-skinned boys is moving crazy, the OVO goons not playing, saying they threw an EMP at Rick Ross' plane. I seen someone say the pilot was on the OVO payroll. They say that man Rick Ross got to start playing on passive mode now. Rick Ross is very, very lucky because not everybody successfully does a plane crash and survives. Me personally, I would not have put my butt back on the plane for a very, very long time. I'm just being honest. I don't think Drake got nothing to do with this, but you know, social media. What do you guys think about this?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.